The date is March 18, 1965. The time is 0834 GMT. 500 kilometers above the surface of the Earth, a metal hatch grinds open, exposing the interior of the Voskhod 2 spacecraft to the absolute silence of the cosmos. Inside the airlock, Alexei Leonov checks his tether. He is breathing heavy, purely oxygenated air, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. He is about to do something no human being has ever done before. He is about to leave the ship. He pushes himself out. For a moment, there is no fear, only a blinding, overwhelming majesty. He floats freely in the void, a tiny speck of organic matter suspended against the infinite black canvas of the universe. Below him, the Earth rolls by in a kaleidoscope of blues and whites, so bright it hurts his eyes even through the gold-lined visor. He feels like a god. He is the first man to walk in space, the first to sever the umbilical cord of gravity and drift in the celestial sea. He waves to the camera, a grainy image that is being beamed down to millions of awestruck faces in the Soviet Union. "I feel fine," he reports, his voice crackling with euphoria. "The Earth is round. It is beautiful." For 10 minutes, Leonov is the loneliest, most triumphant man in history. He somersaults, he gazes at the stars which look like unblinking eyes. He feels the profound weightlessness that no simulation could ever truly replicate. But as the adrenaline begins to ebb, a cold reality sets in. Physics, impartial and cruel, is starting to assert its dominance. In the vacuum of space, there is no atmospheric pressure to push back against the internal pressure of his Berkut spacesuit. Slowly, insidiously, the suit begins to deform. It starts with his fingers. He tries to close his hand to grip the tether, but the material has ballooned, becoming rigid and unyielding. His fingertips no longer touch the ends of the gloves. They are floating inside a pressurized bubble. He tries to move his legs, but his boots have become hollow chambers where his feet dangle uselessly. The suit is expanding, growing larger and stiffer with every passing second. The euphoria vanishes, replaced by a creeping, icy dread. He is no longer a pilot in command of a sophisticated machine. He is a small, soft creature trapped inside a rapidly hardening shell. Leonov realizes the terrifying truth. He is not just floating, he is being encased. The suit was designed to protect him, but now it is turning into a prison. He looks back at the airlock hatch, his only way home, his only way to survive. It looks impossibly small. The suit has ballooned so much that its diameter is now greater than the width of the airlock entrance. The celebration is over. The cameras are still rolling. The world is still cheering. But up here, in the deafening silence, the trap has snapped shut. He is drifting away from the safety of his ship, encased in a balloon that won't fit through the door, and the clock is ticking down to a disaster that no one on the ground can even imagine. The first spacewalk has turned into the first space emergency, and the nightmare is just beginning. The spacecraft is hurtling towards the terminator line, the boundary between day and night. In a few minutes, Voskhod 2 will plunge into the Earth's shadow, and Leonov will be plunged into absolute, blinding darkness. The temperature will plummet from a scorching 100 degrees Celsius to a bone-crattering minus 100 degrees in seconds. He has to get back in, now. Leonov grabs the tether and hauls himself towards the airlock. He reaches the hatch and tries to push his feet in first, as protocol dictates. It is the only way to close the hatch behind him, but his boots strike the metal rim. He pushes harder, grunting with exertion, but the rigid ballooned suit refuses to yield. He is too wide. He is physically locked out of his own life raft. He tries again, angling his body, shoving with all his strength, but he simply bounces off the hull, floating helplessly back into the void. Panic, cold and sharp, rises in his chest. He fights it down. Panic is death. He needs a solution. He looks at the pressure gauge on his wrist, but he can barely see it through the sweat that is now stinging his eyes. His body temperature is rising uncontrollably. The exertion of fighting the stiff suit is causing him to overheat rapidly. He is boiling inside his own personal atmosphere while floating in a freezing vacuum. Ground control crackles in his ear. "Comrade Leonov, what is your status? Return to the ship." They sound calm, professional, completely unaware that their hero is currently a prisoner of physics. Leonov stays silent. What can he tell them? That the engineering failed? That he is stuck? There is nothing they can do. They are 500 kilometers away. If he tells them, they will just panic, or worse, start giving him committee-approved advice that will waste precious seconds. He is completely, utterly alone. The sun dips below the horizon and the light vanishes. The darkness is total. The only light comes from the faint glow of the instrument panel inside the airlock, a taunting beacon of safety just out of reach. He is exhausted. His breath comes in ragged gasps. The carbon dioxide levels in his helmet are rising uncontrollably. The exertion of fighting the stiff suit is causing him to overheat rapidly. He is boiling inside his own personal atmosphere while floating in a freezing vacuum. The exhaustion, his heart pounding in his chest, the onset of hypercapnia, the drowsiness, confusion. It would be so easy to just stop fighting, to drift here in the quiet dark until the oxygen runs out. But the survival instinct is a powerful beast. He realizes that the rules of the mission, the carefully written protocols of the Soviet space program, are now his death warrant. If he follows the manual, he dies. If he wants to see his family again, he has to break every rule in the book. He hangs there in the abyss, a man abandoned by his own technology, staring into the open hatch that has become the mouth of a tomb. The silence of space is no longer majestic. It is heavy, suffocating, and indifferent to his life. With time dissolving into the blackness, Leonov makes the impossible choice. He decides to commit the ultimate heresy for a test pilot. He will violate the laws of safety to cheat death. He knows that the only way to shrink the suit is to lower the pressure inside it. But lowering the pressure means risking decompression sickness, the bends. Nitrogen bubbles could form in his blood, boiling him from the inside out, causing excruciating pain, paralysis, or an embolism that would stop his heart instantly. It is a suicide maneuver, but staying outside is certain death. He chooses the gamble. Without informing ground control, Leonov reaches for the relief valve on his suit. He flips the switch. Hiss! He watches the pressure gauge drop. 0.4 atmospheres, 0.3 atmospheres. He enters the death zone. He waits for the pain, for the bubbling in his veins, but he has no time to be afraid. As the suit softens, shrinking around his body, he prepares for one final desperate assault on the hatch. He abandons the feet-first protocol. It hasn't worked. He grabs the rim of the hatch and dives in head first. It is awkward, terrifyingly tight. He jams his shoulders into the opening, wriggling like a worm. He gets stuck. His heart rate spikes to 190 beats per minute. He is gasping for air, sweating so profusely that sloshing sweat fills his boots. He is inside the airlock, but he is in the wrong position. To close the outer hatch, he has to be feet first. In a space barely the size of a coffin, encased in a thick suit, Leonov has to perform a somersault. It is physically impossible, yet fueled by the primal terror of dying, he contorts his body. He curls into a ball, crushing himself against the walls, straining every muscle until he screams in silence. Slowly, agonizingly, he flips. He reaches out, grabs the handle of the outer hatch, and pulls. It seals. He collapses. The airlock fills with pressure. He is alive. He has returned from the dead, bathed in sweat, trembling, his body pushed beyond the limits of human endurance. He slumps against the wall, listening to the hiss of the repressurization, the sweetest sound he has ever heard. The world would not know the truth for decades. The footage showed a triumphant walk. The reports spoke of a flawless mission. The 12 minutes of terror, the ballooning suit, the bends, the illicit depressurization, it was all buried under the stamp of top secret. But Leonov knew. He knew that the line between a historic triumph and a forgotten corpse in orbit is measured in millimeters of fabric and seconds of air. Today, when we look at the sleek suits of modern astronauts or watch a private spacewalk on a live stream, we see routine. We see safe, predictable progress. But we forget that this path was paved by men like Leonov, who walked into the dark without a map. Every safety protocol we have today is written in the invisible ink of their near-death experiences. We stand on the shoulders of giants, not because they were fearless, but because when the darkness closed in and the air ran out, they found the will to do the impossible. They simply refused to die.